Do you ever feel like you're in between where you've been and where you're going, in between who you've been and who you're becoming, in between what you've created and what you desire to create? Well, you're not alone in that, even though you may think from time to time that you're the only one there, that no one gets it. I've actually got good news for you, that you're not the only one there. And actually, this is the place to be. In truth, there's no other place to be because that's this present moment. That is what I call the void. And it's not void of anything. It's not a void of nothing. It's a void of pure possibility. And it's the only reality because you don't live in your past. You don't live in your future. The idea of who you are, the story of yourself, is in constant flux. It's in constant evolution. What you're creating is in a constant, perpetual process of unfolding. So there's not a point in time where it's done. Because even all the things that you've wanted to create in your past, like you get that thing or you get there or you create that thing and you realize, oh, but this is also not it. There's more. And that's the good news, is that there is always more. Right? That's the point of all of this, is that it's a perpetual process of pursuing your potential. And so the story that we tell ourselves about this present moment is often undermining our future because it's dampening and dulling our past. And you see, those are one and the same. The story that we tell ourselves of our past is creating our experience here and now, which is dictating our future. And so a big part of this is actually changing the relationship you have with your past. What if your past was an incredible story? What if you got to blame everyone for all the ways in which everything went right rather than everything went wrong, right? What if you got to look at the evidence of your past and everything that happened and use it as fuel rather than being at the fault of what's not working for you, right? That's all a story, right? What happened, happened, but the way that you experienced it, the way that you relate to it, the story that you tell yourself right now about what that was, that's up to you. And that's completely malleable. That's entirely within your creative capacity to reimagine and therefore pattern yourself to be in relationship with. And when you repattern or reprogram that relationship with your past, you recreate your future. You literally reinvent what's possible for you because you reinstate yourself in the power of this present moment. That's the only place, the only space, the only time where there is power, right here, right now, as the creator of your reality. And so I want to invite you to step fully into this void. Join me in this space because this is where I live. This is the space that I call home. I never want to be anywhere other than here, especially because I recognize that I cannot be. This is where creativity exists. This is where imagination lives. This is where the possibility is recognized to be an infinite potential, right? Your true self and that true nature of that infinite interconnectedness, your intuition, your inspiration, your inner knowledge, it's all right here within you. You get to use that power and direct that creative currency to reimagine areas of your life, to recreate your beliefs, to repattern your habits and behaviors. And when you consciously think in a bigger way than you subconsciously act and behave, now you start to redesign your sense of self. And when you elevate and upgrade that sense of self by just your focus, just your intention, just your creative imagination, which is entirely up to you to recreate that sense of yourself and therefore to elevate your frequency. Because as I said many times, your frequency is simply the state of being that you occupy most frequently. And that is up to you. That is your free choice to choose right now to occupy the most expansive, the most joyful, the most loving, the most freed up state of being that you can possibly tune to. And when you make that your number one priority, rather than ruminating on a past and looking for people to blame and looking for evidence as to why things aren't working, and looking for cues in your circumstance or things are not going the right way, when you use that creative consciousness, the infinite potential of your true nature to create possibilities here, to attract synchronicities here, to be a maker of miracles here, then you start to expect the unpredictable, the unexpected. You start to invite in possibilities that would not otherwise come to you, that you would not otherwise recognize, because you're looking for something familiar, something safe, something small, right? Something certain, something linear, something predictable. But when you start thinking unpredictably, not in line with who you've been, when you start imagining outside of the box, when you start dreaming big, when you allow yourself to elevate your state of being, and therefore your frequency to be in alignment with who you truly are, which is infinite possibility, it is an unending potential, it is an infinite abundance, it is a causeless joy and unconditional love. When you remember your true nature, you remember that literally anything is possible. And what you say about it is what your experience of it becomes. But it's always a potential. It's like a quantum possibility, which is always right here, right now, as this moment. Now, it shapeshifts through our perception to be what we claim it to be, what we define it to be, what we label it to be, what we contract it into with our limiting beliefs, with our limiting perceptions, with our ideas of lack. But it is, in truth, always a quantum, nonsensical, infinite potential. Everything that you desire exists here and now. And when you allow yourself to tell yourself the story, to see that, you see it more and more and more. And then your future becomes bright and big, and you start to expand into that potential. You start to meet that threshold. And yes, everything from your past, your fears, your insecurities, your sense of unsafety, your limiting beliefs, everything's going to get triggered. Everything's going to be brought to the surface because you can't bring it with you, right? You've been identifying with it. You've been attached to it. But when you cultivate that power, that willingness, that courage to meet those frequencies, those ideas, those feelings, those thoughts, those beliefs with compassion, with neutrality, with courage and bravery, now you free yourself from the tyranny, from the control that you have placed on yourself by buying into them as if they're significant, as if they're stopping you, as if they have any meaning about you. You see, this is about rewriting the meaning that these things have, your past, your relationships, your circumstances, whatever you've done or not done, whatever you're guilty about or resenting or regretting, right? When you start to change that relationship, when you start to change the relationship most fundamentally within yourself, to be able to meet anything with that pure perception of possibility, where everything is a blank canvas and you get to ask yourself, how is this serving me? How is this benefiting me? How can I use this as creative fuel? How can I work with this? How can I learn from this and then offer this to others so that they too can step out of a limited past into an infinite future? How can we remind ourselves that everything is already here and now, this point of the void in between everything that we've experienced and everything that we want to experience, everything that's familiar and everything that's possible, right? This moment right here is that infinite void of pure potential where it all gets to be experienced. And yes, it's unfolding. Yes, it's moving. But at that point, in the future, so to speak, on the horizon, you will again still be in the void. So you might as well embrace it. You might as well drop the story that's not serving you about it and recreate a story that is bright and bold and beautiful. Why not? Why not? You deserve that. And in fact, your life depends on it. No one else is going to do this for you. No one else is placing anything into this present moment through your perception that's changing your experience to be anything other than what you are creating it to be. So this is up to you, my friend. You are the creator of your reality. You get to choose. You are manifesting this moment to be what you say it is. So what are you saying it is? Who are you saying you are? And what are you saying is possible? Because the bigger you dream in terms of possibilities, the greater the potential of that becomes. And this is what I'm all about. This is why I've created the Wildly Rich Immersion, which is a 4-week immersive experience into the frequency of Wildly Rich, where we explore everything that I've been talking about now and many other ideas that I've been sharing on this YouTube channel. So if you're interested in learning more about this, comment rich and I'll send you more information and the early bird pricing, which is going to end in a couple of days. If you're interested in some support, some community, some helpful tools and techniques and stories and daily voice notes and videos within my personal Telegram channel, and 3 live calls to go into all your questions and the nuances and the specifics on all these topics, direct connection to me for over 4 weeks, then again, comment rich down below and I'll send you more information about this. I hope to see you in there.